Welcome to the Squad Show. I'm Sam Ekstrom, and today I tell you the absolute most necessary bye-week correction the Vikings have to make.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings, and this week the Vikings are in more danger than Arif Hasan's realtor.
That's brutal. Hey, this is Arif Hasan with Wide Left on Football, and I learned yesterday that when I assault Luke Braun off camera, that's a veteran move.
Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. So Calvin Ridley tweaked his hamstring on the first drive of the game, and the Ravers covered the spread. Woo! Tough day to beat his bookie today.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings, every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
What's up and welcome into our Monday Squad Show, streaming on Locked On Vikings, audio on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed. We're so glad you're with us today. We do this every Monday, every Thursday, and after the games. It's the Viking Squad Show with local experts. What bye-week corrections do the Vikings have to make? How long is J.J. McCarthy's leash if indeed he gets the Week 7 start? What's wrong with the Eagles, the Vikings' next opponent? We also have nerdy stats of the day. Just overall, holistically, what's the PJ Fleck mantra? Academically, spiritually, physically, all that. It's all coming up on today's Squad Show, and today's Squad Show is proudly brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, playing off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. The worst week of the NFL season is over. That's the Vikings bye week. We get to talk about football now. And we were talking, Ron Johnson and I were talking about the 6-0 Eagles coming in to US Bank Stadium, marquee matchup. And suddenly I think people are wondering if the Eagles are even good. That's coming up on Sunday. But more from a Vikings perspective, what are the absolute biggest corrections you need to see made after the self-scout takes place and the Vikings look inward? Kevin O'Connell gathers around with a cup of coffee with a big boardroom setting. He's shouting out ideas. Brian Flores is pounding the table. He's getting that tone in his voice.
He's love these like fan fiction scenarios so much. It's like a hallmark of Sam podcast.
You know what we need? We need Isaiah Rodgers. Isaiah Rodgers needs to save us. Gets that tone in his voice. What needs to happen, guys, leading up to Week 7? Biggest bye-week corrections. Let's go with Luke Braun.
I'll give you one on both sides of the ball. On the offense, with both quarterbacks, there's this really strong pattern on all of the sacks of the top of the drop. There's not a throw to make at the top of the drop, and it's a schematic thing. No routes have broken or are even close to breaking. I get if they're going for like a shot play or whatever, but sometimes it's not even that. It's like their intermediates. The timing is not there. Either the drop backs need to get longer, slow down, or the routes need to break off earlier. And I think that's a fairly easy tweak to make to get your timing to look a little crisper. But right now, everybody's getting to the top of the drop and they have to wait. Whether they want to, whether they have the time to or not. And with the O-line problems they've had, it's turned into a bunch of sacks. On defense, you need to figure out how to stop a run when your D tackles can't hold up. We don't have a D tackle that can hold up. It is what it is. Unless you want to go trade back for Harrison Phillips, it's over. It is what it is. You don't have the guy. So how do we do that? Do we have we have to do more?
Is for Blake Cashman to come back from IR.
Maybe get more, string more guys out on the line of scrimmage, right? Bigger surfaces, get a bigger or like use more aggressive fronts, load the box. Whatever you have to do, you are going up against Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles. I know that run game is slumping a little bit. I don't really believe that means that we are safe. You have to figure out how to stop the run right now, or you are going to get crushed. By the way, the Chargers, without their top two running backs, hung 100 rushing as well on the Dolphins. So you got good rushing games coming to town. You have to figure out how to stop the run with the players you have. You cannot keep giving up the run game at this clip because Dylan Gabriel is never going to walk through that door again.
Arif.
My correction is actually pretty similar to Luke's first one on offense. I just think that the timing of the offense is all broken. I think part of it isn't just like certainly marrying the footwork to the route break. That's like a fundamental. You just got to do that on offense. They're starting to do that in high school, right? Like you just got to do that on offense. But I think also the way that the quarterbacks were coached in the Kevin O'Connell system generally has been obviously quite good historically, right? But right now it's a detriment given kind of what's going on with the offensive line, with the offense, with the way that the timing works. You get off your first read faster. Get these quarterbacks to kind of move off that first look faster.
Carson Wentz does that all the time, right? He famously. That's something he knows how to learn and improve.
It's, I think, teaching a quarterback not to panic when the first read is not there is admittedly a tough thing to do. But you just got to make it part of the rhythm and part of the offense. Like, there's not a way out of it because the Vikings are so dependent on being a first read offense, which did work, right? It worked. Like in London, it worked. Being like, it was like a 70% first read rate to the extent that you can determine that from film. That did work. It's not going to keep working. That is a gimmick. A lot of the ways the Vikings are kind of fixing the problems right now are gimmicks, admittedly, but that is a gimmick, and they need to run a real adult human offense. It's a big boy offense where you get to use your progressions. It's I promise it's not that hard. Just keep doing it. Keep working at it. I believe in you.
I do want to add real
Eagles,
quick.
Advice for the Eagles or advice for the Vikings? Run an adult.
Actually, that's a good point. But
It
is advice for the Vikings and Eagles. If you were listening to this podcast, which of course naturally you are, ignore that part. Don't worry about it.
I do want to just real quick add about that Browns game that the Browns uniquely ran a lot of single high, and the Vikings don't see a lot of teams do that. Especially the Eagles coming to town with the Fangio, it's not going to be like that. So whatever they did in London is probably not something you can really copy paste into this game or really a lot of the future ones.
Yeah.
Inman, what do you got?
Yeah, I was just to add on to what you guys said. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, if we don't have everybody healthy, what do we want our identity to be if we can't do the things that we originally wanted to do, building back in training camp in the summer and preseason? Right, the two things they do right now pretty good. Obviously, the pass defense has been strong, and then when they're not fumbling the ball, Jordan Mason's actually super efficient when he's running the ball with this, in between the tackles. Getting after the passer, affecting the quarterback with that pass rush, disguises, all the good Brian Flores stuff. That's been working good on the back end. But those two things, I'm assuming, will always be a big part of their focus and identity coming out of the bye. The explosion and rhythm and timing in the passing game, stopping the run. How do you improve those things? Passing game stuff, I mean, you guys kind of touched on it. I'm sure getting guys like Donovan Jackson and Brian O'Neill back, that should just help things down to down, week to week on a larger scale, sure. But there is more to it, like you guys already touched on. The run defense, though, again, getting Blake Cashman back, that should make the world of difference. Van Ginkel also, he's always good for a few splash plays in both departments, the run and the pass. But you got to figure out who they are and how to excel at the things they want to be good at and be known for, even if the guys that aren't in the lineup, or I should say are still on the sidelines, I suppose, aren't affecting the game and the game plan week to week like they thought they would back in week one when this whole thing started. So I think KOC right now is probably brainstorming how much of the struggles through these first 5 games, right, is because of the laundry list of injuries they've faced, and how much of it is just playing substandard football, not executing the basic, foundational things that they worked on all summer. That's what they got to figure out, I think, and find an answer, even if it's not the answer that probably KOC is hoping for.
And I don't think the answer to that run defense was Harrison Phillips alone. Let's remember, they swapped everybody. It was Jonathan Bullard, it was Jerry Tillery, it was Harrison Phillips. All 3 of those guys were on the heavier side, like on either give or take 5 pounds on either side.
I don't know how much Jerry Tillery was swinging the needle.
Yeah, no, it's fair about Bullard, though. Although I will say, like, they did walk into camp thinking this would be Harrison Phillips, and then just like change that at the last second for kind of no reason, and then it failed.
Yeah,
so that's going to be the name.
Yeah, I'll add two things though. Blake
I
Cashman
don't.
coming back.
Hold on. Is it a
What?
failure that Jalen Redmond is out there terrorizing quarterbacks? Like, is that? I don't know if that's the
Their
failure.
run defense plan
The
failed. They're
failure
like a
is
bottom
not
5 run
that-
defense.
The
Yeah.
failure is not that Jalen Redmond is
Maybe
playing
it's worth
outstanding,
it. That we
right?
can talk about. Yeah.
The failure is not having a plan for what would happen when you found out that Jalen Redmond was good, right? Like that's the failure. But
Sure.
on top of that, I think Blake Cashman coming back is going to change things a lot. And Harrison Smith's pitch count, hopefully changing, is also going to change things a lot. His on-off splits, which admittedly on-off is a really difficult statistic to use in football, given how situational it can be.
Plus
How often
minus. We're doing football plus minus right now.
no, no, absolutely, no, 100%. But it is, like I will admit, like obviously it's a very difficult thing to use right now, or in general, because of how often it's on third down, how often you're using certain packages, why you would use certain packages and not others, given the personnel of the offense that you're facing. I understand all of that, but it is a dramatic split when he's on the field versus when he's off the field. And that includes some of the kind of really small slices when you take a look at situation like 1st and 10 or like when it's a running play. He is just a better player than Theo Jackson when Theo Jackson is being asked to do Harrison Smith stuff. That's not shocking, but the fact that that is true is showing itself on the field. The Vikings are not really getting crushed in the run game. Again, they're not running it as often because it's a situational thing, but not getting crushed in the run game as often when Harrison Smith is on the field. And so like having that pitch count resolve itself somehow, whatever the issue is also going to be really big in addition to the Blake Cashman thing.
It's a lot of little attritions. It's the Harrison Smith pitch count, the Blake Cashman injury, the loss of Van Ginkel, and a whole new interior. It's like all 5 of those things together affecting this run defense. And I don't know if Theo Jackson's providing as much support at the safety position as they got from, say, a Bynum either. So it's a lot of little things on run D. No doubt
Not
about
getting
that.
the production you thought you were going to get from Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargraves. Granted, Javon Hargraves more of a pass rushing dude that we thought, but like the money that they paid them and just the impact that we all kind of assumed they would have has just been non-existent to this point too. So when you add that on top of the injuries and on top of a roster that is built very top heavy, we talked about that a lot this summer. It's kind of been a recipe for disaster for sure on that side of the ball.
Vikings
was pretty
ranked
good against Cleveland, but he also played.
He was,
the least.
and they were both good week 1.
Yeah.
Rushing the passer.
I think I said I think I said this like as a spicy take last week, but I kind of think Javon Hargrave is getting like low key benched because of what's happening in the run, because he like split reps with Jalen Redmond.
Yeah, and he looked good
50-50.
as a situational, even against the run, but he looked
as
good
a situational pass rusher, which
not
is what we
having
thought was happening.
40
And we thought the
plus
main 2
snaps.
guys would be Harrison Phillips and
Right.
Jonathan Allen, and now it's like, oh, we'll put Javon Hargrave at nose tackle, and everyone went, oh, that guy we have known for like 8 years, we can double team and sled to the 5 yards back.
Yeah, and
okay,
and I mean, not that PFF grades are definitive or anything like that. Obviously, we know that. But if you look at his PFF grades when he has 40 plus snaps versus when he has fewer than 40 snaps, which is a 3-game sample versus a 2-game sample, let's be completely honest. But it is a radically different setup. Like he looks a lot better when he has fewer than 40 snaps, and a lot of that is obviously he's being put into situations that he's more likely to succeed in. But even when his rare snaps in run dominant situations where they run the ball, he is better in those situations. So I think also, making sure that he's not exposed to the run game 12 times a game so that he can maybe really dig in those 5 times he has to actually stop the run. That works out really well. So that might also be part of the solution that we're discussing.
Quickly, is there going to be a move that catches us off guard personnel-wise? Like this player gets demoted, kind of in the Hargrave sense that you talked about, and someone else is getting an uptick. Maybe it's a Jay Ward getting more run. Maybe it's a Dwight McGlothern getting more run. I'm trying to think on the offense who that would be, because they've already kind of demoted Thielen.
Taki getting
time.
more reps could be an idea worth it. Because like he is not. Like he didn't make the team and he didn't have that special of a preseason, but like when he played last year, he played well from scrimmage in the regular season. Like
and
there's a
played
chance of
one
that.
game this year, right? Like they promoted him for a game. Am I missing something? Maybe not.
I don't remember if he got any reps, but yeah. Or maybe it's Elijah Williams, who by the way, cooking on kickoffs again.
Let's go.
Speaking of kickoffs, Macho Meach question. Is Matt Daniels low-key on the hot seat given how much special teams has stunk and they haven't done anything with the new kickoff rule? Has special teams stunk? Has it really stunk?
What if somebody did an entire Locked On Vikings
game.
podcast about the new kickoff and it went up this morning? What if that happened?
Oh my gosh.
I talked to Kevin.
In theory.
And Kevin is going to be
Kevin.
writing basically that. Okay, great.
Yeah, we talked about it, and he was like, I should write an article based on the conversation we had in that episode of Locked On Vikings.
Yeah,
we talked about the dynamic kickoff, and in particular, what's going wrong with the Vikings. I do believe Matt Daniels has had some schematic ideas on kickoff returns that just have not worked.
They've not,
Big time bye-week self-scout moment. Stop trying to double team and then pull your tight end like across an entire kickoff formation. It does not work. And also, you just have guys getting blown up a lot. They just don't. I don't like the way that they've coached the new kickoff at all. And I think this would be a great time to try something new.
Is there statistical data that puts them at the bottom of return rate or return yardage, anything like that?
I think the Vikings have the third worst starting field position on kickoff returns.
That would be the one.
A
lot of penalties too.
Yeah, and a ton of penalties. There's a ton of penalties. So this is the thing, Sam. I think the reason it feels weird to say, hey, the Vikings are bad on special teams is, one, obviously Ryan Wright is doing well, right? That helps. But two, everyone, and I said this last week, everyone is doing better on kickoffs. I mean, not necessarily because technically the average starting field position is almost identical to last year, but because they're coming on returns instead of touchbacks, it's much more visible. The return rate, or the touchback rate this year is like 15%. Last year it was like 70% or something like that. I've got the stats somewhere. Probably send them to Kevin for the piece, actually. But the return rate is flipped on its head. So we're getting many more returns, but those returns are getting on average to the same spot. And what matters here is kind of the variance, how often you get past that touchback line. And teams are doing it way more often than the Vikings are. Way more often. So that's like one element of it. But like everyone's special teams are getting better. And the Vikings kind of aren't. Or as I said, I think last week, they aren't getting more better, right? They're not doing it as well as a lot of these other teams. So in some sense, and we had someone comment on it last week on that show saying that they were really happy with the special teams. I understand where that's coming from, but if you take a look at it league-wide, the Vikings were falling way behind. And so I wouldn't say Matt Daniels is on the hot seat because of it, but I certainly think it's worth the discussion.
Yeah, you need more.
But we're talking about kickoff return, right? Kickoff coverage, solid.
Coverage has been pretty good.
Coverage solid. Field goal
unit. It's the one unit.
The wire got in the way. I mean, they blocked a field goal once. There's a
confirmed by the league. The wire happened. I can't believe it.
No, it did. No, the league did not. Jordan Schultz got that wrong. I don't believe him. That's.
I didn't see conclusive evidence.
Wiregate.
I did not see conclusive evidence.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that Jordan Schultz was wrong about it because it still feels really weird to me. But
it also looks like it's a direct copy and paste from Will Reichardt's agent, which, like, hey man, keep hustling.
How much of the
who doesn't?
The lack of production in the return game has to do with not having a, Miles Price and on punt return, whoever's back there has been maybe above average compared to our expectations. But remember, our expectations going into week one, as far as who's our return guys back there, was pretty low.
I don't
much
think
of it
it's
has
Miles.
to do with not having that Cordero Patterson back there.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Miles Price's fault.
Okay.
I don't.
Innovations that are
he's under
happening.
duress by the 20 just about every time.
Yeah,
and the one thing I'll say to like the hot seat point is like this is a problem that needs solving. Every time you have a problem that needs solving, you shouldn't fire a guy over it. That's a great way to become the Jets. That's what the Jets do.
Also, it looks like on kickoff return, the Vikings are below average in terms of, or in kickoff, or below average in opponent field position coming off of kickoffs. Not drastic.
Yeah, they've given up a couple, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I think Pace is a monster on that, by the way. It's so funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I schematically, a lot of special teams coordinators are doing and Matt Daniels is doing a lot in terms of what we're seeing on these kickoff returns, because there's a lot of blocking schemes that you can draw.
Yeah, they've tried a lot of different things.
And the Vikings innovations have not worked, right? A lot of other teams' innovations have.
Check that out on Locked On Vikings. Coming up next, if JJ McCarthy, let's start over. 3-2.
Got it.
Coming up next,
live,
if
by the
JJ
way.
McCarthy stinks when he comes back, what happens? We're brought to you today by Mizzen and Main. You know the saying, look good, feel good. The problem is that most dress clothes only check one of those boxes. They look sharp. They feel stiff, hot, high maintenance. That's where Mizzen and Main comes in. That's what I'm wearing right now under this sweatshirt. Mizzen and Main makes classic menswear with performance fabrics, so it's effortless to look sharp and feel comfortable. They invented the performance fabric dress shirt over 10 years ago, and they perfected it ever since. Stretchy, moisture wicking, wrinkle resistant, machine washable. These are phrases that describe Mizzen and Main shirts. Tell you what, Mizzen and Main's offering a great deal to our listeners right now. 20% off your first purchase at mizzenandmain.com with promo code LOCKEDONNFL20. That's Mizzen, M-I-Z-Z-E-N, Main, M-A-I-N.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNFL20 for 20% off. If you'd rather shop in person, find Mizzen and Main stores in select states. We are also brought to you today by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today. See parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. The part finder tools, 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. And if it's an emergency job, that can come in handy. Join the free Trademaster program today. Score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, dedicated support line, supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Thank you, everydayers, for watching all the time here on the Squad Show. Ron Johnson Show tomorrow on Locked On Sports Minnesota. Then the Care 11 Show on Wednesday here on Locked On Vikings. We're back on Thursday. JJ McCarthy may or may not start on Sunday. We'll learn more maybe today, maybe Wednesday. Sounds like he's going to try and practice. If he plays Luke Inman, if he plays and plays badly, or if let's say we get a 2-game sample and it kind of looks like the Bears game and the Falcons game again. Maybe they go, I don't know, maybe they, it's Chargers, right? Maybe they lose to the Eagles and beat the Chargers, but he doesn't look good, or vice versa. Like, what are you doing? What's the threshold for JJ McCarthy to lose the job to Carson Wentz, or is it a long, indefinite leash?
I mean, you pray and hope he doesn't come out and the offense doesn't look like it did for those 7 of 8 quarters the first 2 weeks. You got to see some improvement in there, and I think there will be, just for the simple fact, you'll have guys like Christian Darrisaw, Jordan Addison out there this time around. But I think the leash is going to be long. Granted, as long as he's healthy out there and does what KOC wants and practices Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think it's going to be pretty long. I do. I think he would either have to get hurt or things would have to look as bad again. No improvement on those 7 quarters for those, maybe, Charger game, and then you got Detroit, maybe 3-4 games before they start to ponder a switch again. And that's only if they're still in real playoff contention and think Carson Wentz can revive them back to life at that point, rally them back into the playoffs in some way. But I think it's a long leash. And as much as we all love that Wentz went 2-1 over these 3 games, I don't really think he did enough to make me sit here and say that he's the guy that's going to get you to the promised land and win multiple playoff games either.
Yeah, Arif Hasan, you differ on that take?
Whoever you choose, you should stick with. I think that's the deal. Like, I've advocated that we should be more seriously considering Carson Wentz. God.
I hate what this has done to you. You're a shell of yourself.
I understand, that is the thing I've advocated, but once you make a decision, you got to make that decision. And it's always a sliding scale, right? If we get a Nathan Peterman 5-pick half, we should be maybe a little bit more aggressive about, taking the long hooked cane and yanking him off stage. Right. But other than that, I think stretches of bad play should not be haunted by the specter of being benched, because that's not how you fix a player. That's not how you resolve a situation. If you're playing JJ McCarthy, you're telling the team that you think this guy is giving you the best chance to win over the course of the entire season, which hopefully that also means over the next couple of games, because it's typically how teams approach this. But you can't let a couple of bad plays here or there change your approach. And I might say stuff on Twitter during the games that contradicts this, but like that's just,
that doesn't count.
Whatever. That doesn't count. But I think generally when you're the head coach, you got to make sure that players understand that mistakes won't get them benched because you have to let them play kind of loose and free. So I would say at least 3-4 games of like bad play. If it's catastrophic play, yeah, that changes things, right? It's always a spectrum of that. But I would say that there's a fair amount of latitude here.
Yeah, so you have to be comfortable, if you're the Vikings, comfortable saying we are willing to shift our goals to JJ McCarthy's.
You can never say that. You can never say you're shifting your goals. The goal is always to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, but like secretly, they have to shift your goals to this is a JJ McCarthy development season.
No, it could be a JJ McCarthy development couple of weeks. My take on this has always been that like we if you start Carson Wentz for the rest of the season, you know what that is. And it's probably a great way to quietly go like 6-11 and have not many people talking about you in December. If that's your goal, to just like get everybody to look away from you, then go ahead. But the only way that this team turns into something that actually competes in the NFC is if JJ McCarthy figures it out. It's not. There's no way that Carson Wentz creates a competitive NFC team. And so the only way to do that, if JJ McCarthy comes out and struggles, and like Arif said, if it's a Nathan Peterman 5-pick half, then the conversation changes, and you have to be willing to look at that stuff. But if it is like the first 2 games and there is one good quarter, okay, let's build on that quarter. Let's find a way to figure it out and hope that you can still hover around 500 and go into December, and by then you've figured out what the offense can be with McCarthy and how you can move the ball with McCarthy, and hopefully you can get hot at the right time and make a run. That has to be the plan for this. I think every other option is a great way to just like quietly suck.
The upside is there with McCarthy. It is not with Wentz. I'm not sure they go 6-11 with Wentz either. I mean, I think Wentz could almost get you. I think you're in the wild card conversation deep into December, probably with Wentz.
Super disagree. I think that this falls.
They're the 7th seed right now, Luke. What are you talking about?
I think so. Okay, let me plug first. Patreon.com/Luke Braun NFL. I have a 2-hour video on Wentz, and it's free to watch. You don't even have to sign up. So, go if you want to if you want to see me show my work on this, go ahead and watch that. But basically the first read nature of the offense, I think, is accommodating Wentz, and I don't think it can get more complex. And I think smarter teams are going to be able to figure that out, cover that first read and force essentially Wentz's quarterback game is first read and improv. And sometimes improv means get to the check down really quick. And it looks like this really nice, sharp, but he skipped 3 reads and he went to the check down, which Kevin O'Connell said in a presser, but in a praising way, which I found really interesting. He goes through the 4th read way before you're supposed to. I'm like, Kevin, I know you don't like that. That's not ever what you want. But it's either that or then it's going into scramble mode. When he's in scramble mode, he never resets his feet. He misses a ton of throws, just like trying to wing it like he's
so bad.
Like you're not Aaron Rodgers, dude. He thinks he's Brett Favre.
Catastrophic.
It's so annoying.
The accuracy of McCarthy, the mobility of McCarthy, accuracy while he's moved, like these we've seen those traits.
Do the read the way it is supposed to be done. Maybe not fast enough. We want to get that timing better, but at least he's like following the instruction of the play. I just don't really see a world where you can first read this, like, unless you think we're just going to Case Keenum it again. But this ain't a Case Keenum situation. We know that this is not as good as a Case Keenum situation.
It's tough that JJ McCarthy doesn't have a good coach like Brian Dable to guide him, because clearly Jackson Dart's success says something about KOC. Says Macho Meach.
The Drake May stuff feels real bad. I mean, so does the Daniel Jones stuff and the Sam Darnold stuff, but the Drake May stuff feels real bad.
Like Thor said, Drake May was 1-9 to start.
Yeah, I'm just saying it feels bad now.
Burrow, what was Burrow to start before he tore his ACL?
Injured. Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, he started that season like up and down too. Like
I'm not saying JJ McCarthy is doomed. I'm saying I see all the riches splayed out before us that could have had. And then you look at a nest egg, you're like, I don't know if that egg is going to turn rotten or into gold, man. But I see all these other gold eggs.
Everybody wants to develop a QB till it's time to develop a QB.
Yeah.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. I don't know why people are treating it like a sprint all of a sudden.
There is a parallel concern also. Like, you've got the J.J. McCarthy development, and I think you can still speak positively and say it's not going to be perfect this year, 2026 though. But also, you've created this 2-year window with this roster, and I think the jury's still out on whether they built the correct roster. Like, they've made some bets that aren't working out great. And they don't have a lot of room to add financially next year. So there's a couple conversations going on here. And I think the rest of the year we'll sort through both of them and kind of, see what they have roster-wise around McCarthy going into next year as well. That's got to be a factor. The Eagles are a tough opponent for J.J. McCarthy to return against. If he's indeed returning, we will turn our eyes to Philadelphia, who is suddenly struggling. We also have nerdy stats of the day upon our return. And we're brought to you by Mazda today. Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moving the game forward belongs to Jared Goff, who caught a pass and scored a touch. What? He didn't? They overruled it? Oh, no. He would have moved the game forward. Would have been an awesome play. You got to let that stand. Going for it, no matter what, like the Lions on 4th and goal. That's what keeps the game moving. That's what keeps the fans fired up. So when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Let it stand.
It was like a party foul more than a...
That is major party foul. Although I think it was the correct call. Let's get into nerdy stats.
Analytics fans rejoice. It's time to get educated.
Whoa, you're blowing my mind right now.
With the nerdy stat of the day.
Do you guys remember in our preseason predictions, we had a category for how many Vikings play 100% of snaps? Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, God.
Guess how many are left?
I don't think any.
Yeah, Will Fries.
I mean, the big like Darius. Well, no.
Oh, maybe Fries.
There's our quarterback.
Yeah.
Fries. Okay.
And the answer is zero. The answer is zero. Beyond that, the Vikings have 2 offensive players that have played more than 81% of snaps. I say 81 because TJ Hawkinson is 80.9. Okay. Last year, they had 5 guys who played over 90. And this year they have 2 over 80. And it's Fries and it's Jefferson. Injuries suck. That's all I got. Inman.
Yeah, that's
Yep. Sounds about right.
Injuries suck.
No, I got you.
Eagles this week. The Eagles have been outscored 54-17 in their last 5 quarters. They're trying to figure things out. A lot of injuries, as we'll touch on here in a minute.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you have a nerdy stat?
That was it.
Sorry.
Yep.
What?
What's that? Mazda.
Stat so nerdy, didn't even realize it was a stat.
Move it. What do you want? Cameron Dicker has never missed a 40-yard field goal inside 40. 79 and 80 with inside 50 yards. Dicker
Thank you.
Kicker.
Thank
Nerdy
you.
stat.
I wanted Dicker the kicker intel. Arif or Braun?
I have some tush push stats from an article I just finished for Arif's website. Since 2023, when the tush push was unveiled, the Eagles have converted 98 of 115 QB rushes with 1 yard to go. That's 85.2%, which is only 7th best across that time frame. The tush push is, I think, a very misunderstood thing. It's not that they have a better success rate than everybody else on it, or that it is this unstoppable entity. You can never stop them from getting a yard. You can. It's just that the Eagles uniquely line up and run it again. That 115 rushes in that time frame is an overwhelming first place just in volume. The only team that has even done it half that often is the Buffalo Bills. Everybody else is 50 or under.
Okay.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. And they ran it 4 times in a row on Thursday night.
Yeah.
All right, so Jalen Hurts is throwing in the intermediate range, 10 to 19 yards downfield. This is a Benjamin Solak stat. On 11% of his dropbacks, which is the lowest rate for a starter over the last 15 years, according to ESPN Stats and Info. The only people who were close were Russell Wilson in 2024 and Russell Wilson in 2023. It is either a screen pass, a slant, or a deep bomb. It is not a very creative offense. That is all they do.
This always happens in the NFL. The hot team in September gets crowned. Are they going to join the 72 Dolphins? Are they the best team we've ever seen?
I don't think anyone was saying that about the Eagles.
We do this, but we
Yeah,
do. We have a
the
problem
narrative
with
about the
this.
Eagles was very like,
When is this going to fall apart?
fraudulent.
They're
Yeah.
18-0 in their last 18 games.
Yeah, that did happen. That is
There's more often than not, these teams kind of suck. Like the hot team at the beginning of the season, 2016 Vikings, the Steelers have been the fraudulent team. Even some Patriots teams were like this. Yeah, the Eagles have gone from this inevitable team that was winning kind of very Chiefsy, kind of like the Chiefs last year, winning in ridiculous ways. They know how to win in the fourth quarter. Now they're 4-2 and they all hate each other. And
That's the best part. They despise.
Yeah, what is going on there?
Last year too and won the Super Bowl. In fact, that was one of the arguments that they would win the Super Bowl because they're united by the power of mutual hatred.
Yeah, it feels
Which will
broke
only
over
work
right
in
now.
Philly.
Right? Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's very Philly way to. Yeah.
So was it a Kellen Moore thing?
Well,
you just talk about how their offenses.
They held it together.
An
I think it
RPO
matters.
or a deep bomb. Injuries.
I'm not. Sure,
I think missing Landon Dickerson is doing to them what missing
Dickerson's
Christian
been huge.
Darrisaw does to the Vikings.
Yeah.
I think it matters so much.
Mm-hmm.
He's, in my opinion, the best guard in the league.
Yeah, and not only that, but Cam Jurgens and Lane Johnson, they haven't necessarily missed games, but they've been dealing with a lot of injuries as well. I think that, those 3 names alone, not being at 100% has caused a lot of issues. And obviously it all starts with Saquon Barkley, and the creases have just not been there for Saquon. They're trying to run the ball and they just can't. It's hard when you get 0, 0, 1. It's like that Dalvin Cook year where it's just 0, 0, 1, 0, -1, and then
I feel like this
pray
happens
for the
to
home run. You
lot
pray
of
for the home run bit.
offenses. A lot of offenses that were really good at running the ball one year suddenly magically aren't the next year, as if maybe that's not like a sustainable way to, or maybe it's not the running back that's behind. I don't know.
Running back regression after a season like Barkley had. I mean, that seems like kind of a real thing. Like we saw it with Peterson, after his 2,000-yard campaign, and it happens frequently after outlier seasons. The law of averages is real.
It's also happening to Derrick Henry too, who just also had a fantastic season. Overshadowed by Barkley's. Yeah.
Time might have finally come for him.
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
5 years late, but
yeah, yeah, actually.
Father time comes for us all. Eagles scoring percentage. So percentage of drives that result in a score. 28th. Vikings are 26th. Eagles are 28th in scoring percentage.
Eagles are in a rough neighborhood. That's crazy.
woof. To be worse in that stat than the Vikings.
Who are debating over which bad quarterback is
we're like Carson Wentz debates are happening over here, and you're doing worse than that?
Yeah, they're familiar with how bad Carson Wentz debates can be.
They're very familiar with
So
actually, no, Sam, I've changed my mind. On everything.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz should start this game purely because it's a revenge game, and sit down McCarthy and tell him this has nothing to do with who's better. You might actually be better, but this is about a revenge game because it would be very funny if Carson Wentz won.
That's the best Carson Wentz argument I've heard yet.
You got to maximize the angles here. Wentz wins the revenge game, then McCarthy against Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Oh,
right? Yeah.
Oh, true.
Oh,
so you're up next. Yeah. Don't worry. No matter what, you're up next.
Yep, you're up
Friday
next.
night.
And then what's the angle against who's next? Ravens or Lions after that?
Lions.
Yeah.
So
Michigan.
Michigan.
So Okuda gets the CB1 role that
Right.
game.
There you
No,
go.
Okuda plays quarterback.
On
Like
Amon-Ra
no,
St. Brown, that'll be
McCarthy
fine.
gets the start for Michigan related reasons. That makes sense. I think.
Yeah.
Against the line. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And then Baltimore, I mean, Harbaugh's brother.
Yeah.
McCarthy beats Harbaugh.
Yeah. So
We're going
we
both
got a
Harbaughs. We're going
solid string of McCarthy's
Harbaugh.
following
in
this revenge game. Yeah. for sure.
October.
Yeah.
Harbtober.
Harbtober? I don't know.
There's got to be a
Harbaugh.
handful of former Carson Wentz teams though on the schedule. He's played for 8 of them.
Yeah, and
Commanders there. This is I feel like this works against the Eagles because if Carson Wentz gets a lead on you and you're the Eagles, you're tilting, you're crashing out. Like it's a spiral. You know, like maybe you just need the first quarter.
It's true. Yeah. And because of the way it's kind of like saves in baseball, like Carson Wentz will get the win as the starter. It'll be logged in the stats.
Yeah.
And then you can put whoever in because they'll just like fall apart and it'll be like the Bengals game again. They'll just turn it over 5 times. You'll be happy.
Comes down to who was more
But
irresponsible.
Isaiah Rodgers back there. Give him a revenge game at quarterback.
Oh yeah, the Isaiah Rodgers revenge angle here is pretty cool, right? Like
Yeah. Especially because Keely Ringo is awful.
is awful.
Oh,
Quinyon
he's
Mitchell's
terrible,
hurt.
dude.
Like the
Quinyon's
like one of the
hurt.
chief
Ja'Cory
problems with the
Bennett is also hurt, I want to say.
Yeah,
dude,
their
there's
secondary
tons.
is
Nolan
a mess.
Smith is on the IR. Ja'Cory Bennett's on the IR.
Wow.
Keely Ringo, though, to your point, both of you, is atrocious.
like
He's
they
almost
just
not
got
playable.
ripped up by Wan'Dale Robinson. Like that
Yeah.
secondary is not where it wants to be.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the next kind of coaching point for whoever's at quarterback, right? It's not go find Jefferson, which would typically be a great coaching point. It would be go find Keely Ringo, I think. And it's just like whatever is happening in that area.
I think they play
Well, like
sides.
Adoree Jackson.
It's a Fangio
isn't
defense.
great either.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
If they play
Adoree
sides,
Jackson.
just put Jefferson against. That's all. Oh,
They,
Adoree
I think they
Jackson.
play sides in zone. I mean, it's zone. They like
Well, yeah,
never
it's
man up
Fangio.
'cause it's Fangio.
But
But anytime you get quarters over there, go ball, which is Carson Wentz's favorite thing to do, by the way, is just
Yeah,
back
it's true.
shoulder fade against single high.
Yeah.
Last year, when you think Philly, you think they're trenches, right? Both sides. They would just bully anybody they wanted to. Last week, I know Jalen Carter was out. That was huge for them. I don't know. I think Ian Rappaport called it like a surprise, somewhat of a surprise, him being inactive. So we'll have to see if he's going to suit up this week. But he's obviously the heart right in the middle of that defensive line.
Kind of just takes
Kind
Jurgens
of. There was
against
actually
Carter.
there was
Should go
actually
well.
rumors that he didn't want to play because it was MetLife Stadium, the MetLife Stadium factor. But Nolan Smith though too. Nolan Smith, everybody. Okay, great pass rusher, but he's been so good against the run. Him being on the IR, he's been one of the best run stopping edge rushers in the league. And since he's been on the IR, Broncos and the Giants have kind of ran all over them too. So just a lot of injuries. Just a lot of injuries going on for them.
Speaking of like random pregame surprise, what's happening over in Indianapolis? They had
What are they doing in pregame warmups?
they like Anthony Richardson's eye went out in pregame warmups. Some other guy got a concussion from like running into a tight end.
Did you see the video? They released the video.
Well, Anthony
someone
Richardson
did.
and Ward
of the guy who
hurt,
got
right?
the concussion, or of Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, just like not running a route, not really aware of his surroundings. Then someone else wasn't aware of their surroundings, just leveled him accidentally.
So it's like when Travis Kelce took out Xavier Worthy.
No, it was like when Linval Joseph took out the sound guy.
Oh God. Oh wow, that's bad.
Yeah, not great. Well, I think Jalen Carter against Michael Jurgens should go well if Jalen Carter's just slightly hobbled. I mean, that brings it to even terms,
Mhm.
Sure.
right? Bad heel and all. Yeah,
Coin flip for
not
sure.
worried about that whatsoever. Cooper DeJean in the slot. Put JJ in the slot against Cooper DeJean. I'm excited for
honestly,
that.
He might be the best DB.
No, he's the
in
best.
Yeah, no, he
building.
is.
Yeah.
I would
Put Thielen
attack
on him.
actually his put Thielen on him.
Put
Why do you
Thielen
I know
on,
I
yeah.
would attack his like one weakness, which is like only kind of a weakness, which is his raw speed, right? So you'd probably put Jordan Addison on him and then just kind of see who wins that battle, because I think Jefferson beats Cooper DeJean, of course, but I just think that the distance between like where and how Jefferson wins versus where and how Cooper DeJean wins, that matches up better than just like a super fast guy.
I think
Would
as
there-
we kind of found out with Donatel, it's really hard to dictate matchups against the Fangio defense because they just zone everything, and it's going to be a lot more about like finding the holes, which goes back to which quarterback can like see the field.
That's fair. Bad dad joke. When you say Addison got ran down by a linebacker, I must tell you that this is
This
the
is not a
fastest a
normal person.
linebacker has ever run in the next gen stats era.
Ever.
Like that doesn't count.
Is this the time they dust off Ty Felton? Could there be a Ty
No.
Felton?
No.
They put
Shot
Tim Jones
play. To
in
do
before
what,
him,
Sam?
and he is no longer in the building. Tim Jones has gotten
Torch.
wide receiver reps. Ty Felton is a special teamer. He doesn't exist.
Okay,
on offense.
where's the FanDuel line? I want Ty Felton over. Can I
Yeah,
write
you
up
will
a
be unable
I'd
to
rather
do
have
that
like
in
a
3
CJ
days,
Ham
man.
over.
Yeah, I genuinely. Let me see if he's even taken a rep.
It's
He
very
has.
possible he hasn't, unless it was the Bengals game. Didn't
Oh,
they?
Bengals
didn't
game.
Oh, yeah.
Brosmer throw to him, or maybe I'm wrong.
He did catch. He got his first career catch
yeah.
from Brosmer. That is true in
Yep.
blowout mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of like that one. When we come back, we've got our Week 6 bet results, updated standings, and some Week 6 talk here on the Squad Show. And those Week 6 bets using all the lines from FanDuel. NFL season is hitting the midway stretch, honestly. And new customers can still bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if that bet wins. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And you can wager on so much right now. You've got Major League Baseball playoffs. You've got college football. You've got pro football. You've got NHL hockey and very soon NBA basketball. It's all available at FanDuel. Whether you're a casual or a diehard, bet live, put together a same-game parlay, future bets to have months of intrigue on that bet. So what are you waiting for? FanDuel.com. Download the FanDuel app today and get started. Betting contest update. We started with $1,000 mythical dollars. We make 2 bets a week, and everything was on the table this week because the Vikings didn't play. Normally it's Vikings bets. Arif Hasan, you are our leader by $1,400. What a start to
We'll
your
see.
season.
You got Monday night. You got tonight.
Much like, I could close the gap.
You
but
could
much
get
like
in a second,
Saquon-
Sam, tonight.
Yeah.
Well, once Saquon Barkley got over 2,000, then the regression hit. So I think that's about to happen for Arif Hasan, who crossed the $2,000 threshold.
That's why I did all my maxes early. Because I knew if I succeeded, I wouldn't want to screw
You
that
emptied the playbook early, and now
Yeah, and now we just got to keep throwing like
Slant.
five going
Yeah,
out.
he's got a 2-score lead in
The-
the fourth quarter. Now it's just run the clock.
Yeah.
The Jonnu Smith over has now worked for Arif Hasan twice, and he got him bet 420 on it yesterday to win like 233, and it hit.
sicko mode, man. Sicko mode.
Disgusting activity.
Like
Brief-
The thing is,
you're gonna
he,
have to
like,
buy a Jonnu Smith jersey when this
he got
is all
his
said
he
and
got
done.
his
That was
first
the 1-1
reception-
too, if I recall, right?
It was the 1-1.
Yeah.
That's how
He
we
got-
opened the betting segment
Yeah.
And rightfully so. It's the best bet on the
Yeah, it was correct. Yeah.
with
He
the
got his
420
first
bet
reception.
followed by a $69 bet just for the bit.
Yeah, it was great. He got his first reception on the first drive, and then he didn't get his third reception until deep into the fourth quarter. I was so stressed. He had another target and another touch in between too. I was like, come on, why is he running the ball?
And we gotta update via text for all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And
It was
I
one.
wasn't in live time, so I went back. I was like, wow, there's like an hour in between all these.
Yeah.
Got 1, got 2, got it.
Yeah, I was like, 1,
3.
only 2 more to go. An hour later, 2.
So Arif made a lot of money on that. He went 1-1. He's 8-4 overall. Huge lead over Luke Braun, who went 1-1. Lost your big bet though. Lions
Yeah,
plus 2.5.
Wrong kind of
Ouch.
1-1.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
RJ worked. You're all welcome.
Mhm.
Couldn't quite get the Packers. Didn't put enough on it to really RJ it, but
He's at $636. He's down about $370. Luke Inman, tough
Ugh.
day. 0-2. Adams and Diggs overs.
Yeah.
Diggs,
Do
he
not
had
hit.
it. Got
Take
called
it away,
back.
dude.
Ticky tacky call there.
That wasn't
Ticky-tacky
ticky-tacky.
call.
Where's the pool report on that one? He wants accountability.
Still waiting to hear back from the league.
The league admitted they
I-
were wrong, according to his agent.
Oh, so void. That's void.
I missed going negative, or I had a chance to go negative yesterday.
Yeah, we missed
and I
out on
dodged
Prize
it.
Picks.
I would have owed you a
situation.
Prize Picks. Yep.
Yeah.
But the Bengals valiantly backdoor cover behind Joe Flacco with
Before
the
QC, a fourth
Bills.
quarter cover.
Bills still to come tonight. I have a chance to move into second place with a win. That would put me still about 1,100 behind Arif Hasan, who's running away. But we got a lot of season
long
left.
season,
A lot of bets.
ball left. But yeah, I'm
Lot
glad
of
you got your
bets.
cover winning drive.
I chuckled today looking at the NFC North standings because the Bears have played 4 games. The Lions have played 6 games. The Vikings have played 5 games, and the Packers have a tie. And good luck
Classic NFC North shenanigans.
figuring out that one. But yeah, I mean, what did we learn anything valuable yesterday about the Lions, about the Packers? Bears haven't played yet. Vikings didn't play. Anything NFC North centric that stood out other than Jared Goff scoring an awesome touchdown that didn't count?
Yeah, Jared Goff has to be like the least athletic person who's ever caught a touchdown that didn't count, obviously.
That
I mean,
wasn't
Nick
an
Foles-
O-lineman or
Nick
like
Foles is pretty unathletic, but
No, I 100% guarantee Nick Foles is more athletic than Jared Goff. And every offensive lineman who has ever caught a touchdown pass, also more,
Probably more
including
athletic,
Penei
yeah.
Sewell, who he's
Yes.
thrown one to, right? Not close. Jared Goff is like it was obscene seeing him get hit out there. Like I almost felt bad for him if I didn't realize he was playing for the Lions and they were doing all right. But yeah, the Lions are beatable. They're not an overwhelming, outstanding run over everything offense. That's nice to have validated. The fact that Jordan Love is still Jordan Love. He's going to look a lot better. He does look a lot better in the EPA statistics than he did actually in the game when you watch how he played and how he went through all of his stuff. Chaos gremlin, that guy. So
Jordan Love will have better weeks than he's had in the last than the Packers have had in the last 3 weeks, where they've been in this weird slump where they're 1-1-1 and against teams that they probably should be blowing out. But the problem with Jordan Love is always, when is Browns game Jordan Love going to rear its ugly head? Will it be in January?
Yeah.
yes. What's the breaking news, Braun?
Zadarius Smith announces his retirement in the middle of this show. In the middle of the season,
He's not going for the full circle of the NFC North.
not going for the revenge game. He's under contract with the Eagles.
He should have demanded a trade to the Bears. It would have completed the cycle.
Flores
should have
called him
completed
up.
the cycle. Yeah.
If he
Similarly,
had
we need
to-
to get Flacco on the Steelers.
If he had to sign a 1-day contract to retire somewhere, where would it be?
Probably Green Bay.
He hated every team he
He's,
leaves
like,
though.
mad at- yeah, he's mad.
Well,
at everybody.
Jared Allen hated how things ended at KC. He's sitting there last night on Monday night or Sunday
That
night
was cursed.
banging the
I didn't-
drum.
Yeah,
I didn't love
time
that.
heals all wounds. It's
what?
been a while. That was where he had, I think, the biggest renaissance of his career. He was good in Baltimore, but at Green Bay was where he really showed out.
Mm-hmm. Still one of the more disappointing ends to a Vikings career. What,
Jared Allen?
No. Zadarius Smith
Oh, okay. I was
has
I disagree.
a standout.
Yeah, all pro season, and then they traded him for 2 picks.
2022,
Yeah.
and I believe on a 3-year deal. Am I wrong? Three-year deal that gets cut short by a trade for basically nothing that offseason, and
It was very bizarre.
it was really bizarre. Not a trade that they were required to make the finances work or anything. It just seemed like he.
Well, because when you
Wanted
said it was
more
a
money?
3-year deal, I recall it may have been just 1 year guaranteed, and I think part of the sticking point was that he wanted this next year guaranteed as well, and the Vikings didn't want to do that, so they trade. I think, if I recall correctly, this is a bit ago. I think that was part of the trade calculus there.
Yeah, it was strange. And then
Who are the Vikings' 2 starting pass rushers going into that next season?
They still had Daniil Hunter.
Yeah.
It was 23.
23 was Daniil
Was that Juan? Was that?
And Marcus Davenport.
Oh, Davenport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Well,
had
that
this
worked out.
whoa, how are they going to
Don't
make
worry about
3
that.
edge rushers work question? And then they just decided not to.
Oh, it's kind of like, how are they going to make the 3 defensive linemen work? Huh. Interesting.
I think the 5th round picks from the Zadarius Smith trade turned into something cool, if I remember. But Sloth asked in the chat, and I'm going to look it up.
with the drafting the Vikings have done, that would be rare if that were the case.
The 2024 draft, they three at least has been awesome. I mean, obviously that one's going to be defined by JJ McCarthy, but you got like Levi Drake in there and
Will Reichard.
Still don't know about Will Reichard yet.
He can't do the knuckleball kick.
He can't kick through wires, guys. Big problem.
Got him.
Come
Good
on.
thing he doesn't need
Got
to.
him.
Hey, where are we at? Speaking of drafting, where we stand with Dallas Turner now? Because and by the way, maybe this is a bigger story. Didn't KOC last week? Didn't he rattle off a list of players that he expected to practice, and Andrew Van Ginkel was not on the list? Did I hear that right?
Really?
I think that I
wouldn't
believe that
surprise
happened.
me. It sounds like this neck is gonna linger maybe for a couple more weeks.
I'm half bracing for an email that Van Ginkel's been IR'd. Because this is now going back multiple months, concussion in between, and then a curious 8 snaps against the Bengals that I wasn't sure if that was related to the game flow because they were winning by so much or if there was something aggravated in that game. But I haven't heard from him since. I think that puts the spotlight even more on, I think, a pretty substandard Dallas Turner start to this year. I know that
you're crazy wrong. Oh my God, you're crazy wrong. He's beasting. He's playing great. He's answered the call as a starter. I believe he's even starting to rack up the pass rush win stats and stuff. But no, he's collapsing tackles constantly. He's got guys backed up in
winning without traditional production is what you're saying. Because I don't think he's not producing, but he's
31st.
Why do you care about who gets the stat?
I don't. But I do. But it is a good indicator. So so you're telling me that Dallas Turner's getting the job done. He's just not getting home.
I would argue
splash plays.
I would argue that Dallas Turner is playing at or above the level of a lot of starters at edge rusher, right? Is he? I mean, he's not playing at the level of Jared Verse. We've had the discussion that like those aren't really one for one because they have different roles in the particular defenses, and that you can't necessarily. Although I think the Vikings would have found a way. You can't necessarily swap the one for one, right? The Vikings, Leia Tulatu is also, I think, playing better. Not that that's a reasonable comparison because the Vikings couldn't have drafted him. He's drafted 2 picks before Dallas Turner. But I would not argue that he's playing up to the level of his pick. I would say that he's playing very well. And I think that that's fine. I'm not upset that he's not playing to the level of his pick.
He has answered the call of replacing Andrew Van Ginkel, which is why, of all the problems of the run defense we discussed before, missing Van Ginkel is the one that it really helps relieve that sting when you have somebody who is very consistently walking tackles back, which makes Jonathan Grenard make better plays. I think some of the Jalen Redmond breakout we can attribute to Dallas Turner. And that's the thing, especially about pass rush, is that it is an effort of 4 to 6 different people, and one person gets the stat, but everybody's got to do their job for it to work. And I think Arif's characterization is probably more fair, that he is playing as an above average starter. I do think that that's probably good for the 17th overall pick, but because they traded up and because it was attached to that quarterback trade, for some reason we treat his draft stock as if he got picked 2nd overall. Which
I would also add that he is massively outplaying Chop Robinson, who is another potential candidate,
another peer in that class.
I pretend I do not see it.
Yeah, you were a big Chop Robinson guy, right? You
no,
did a couple videos. You love that guy.
No. I said nothing about him.
I'm just going to call it out. If he is indeed balling, then at some point we got to see the fruits of that labor. Like it's got to turn into pressures. It's got to turn into more.
Does it, or can it just continue to be Jonathan Grenard sacks?
Got good players, so you're telling me that there's
no. I don't know that good players produce. Brian Robinson was an outstanding player, incredible player. Never got a ton of sacks. Was fairly late in his pressure production and was really vital to a lot of how good those Vikings defenses are. I understand where you're coming from, Sam, and I think that I would be more enthusiastic about Dallas Turner if, he was logging a little bit more in terms of pressures. If his win rate was higher, I think his PFF win rate something like 12%, which is,
Yeah,
but
for some reason ESPN has him like top 5, but that's why these win rate stats are super weird.
Yeah, they're very weird. Well, I mean, because like PFF is done by subjective manual charting, ESPN's is done by chip data,
proximity to quarterback. So when you walk the quarterback or when you walk the tackle into the quarterback and get within a yard, ESPN counts it, but PFF
it counts as a win. It kind of
yeah.
depends on which you value and how you value it and how it impacts.
And if the quarterback moved because of that or not, which is kind of the quarterback. Like if he stands there and throws, it's different versus if he is Caleb Williams.
I think if the quarterback moves, then PFF it's
that's what I mean. But some will stand there and just get rid of the ball, and then that's like Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't count against Dylan Gabriel. It does count. It's
right. Yeah. So I get where you're coming from, Sam, for sure, and I think that the more he produces, the more value he can add to this conversation. But I think within the construction of the Brian Flores defense, where you've got a bunch of X's instead of a bunch of position designations, that versatility and ability to kind of occupy all these, like if the defense is better because he's on the field, is it important that he's the one that gets the sack? And I think probably not. But it is really difficult for us to develop a cohesive valuation of him without pointing to some of these things like tackle for loss statistics, like sack statistics, like even pressure statistics, where he's relatively behind as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, different player certainly, but it's pretty clear they're better when they have Andrew Van Ginkel in that spot. Regularly. I agree. Like better stuff. Yeah, stuff is going to happen.
Not ashamed to be worse than a Pro Bowler.
Mm-hmm. No, although EPA, if you want to do like EPA on off switch,
you have on-offs?
I did this. I haven't updated it, but I did it a couple weeks ago, and Dallas Turner actually did have a bigger impact. But that was a true media stat, and I would want to check back in on that. But I guess it probably wouldn't change a lot because Dallas Turner's played most of the snaps. And
that's surprising. Based like per capita, it feels like Van Ginkel's done a ton in he's got
it's super broken because Van Ginkel wasn't on the field for the Isaiah Rodgers plays, so it's super broken.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, that's.
But like it's not like it's hard to like hold that against him. It just is. Probably shouldn't hold it for him either.
Everything's still statistically out of whack from that Bengals game, I think.
Probably do it by like success rate, right? So Vikings defensive success rate is 61.8%, which is pretty high actually. It's third in the league when Dallas Turner is off the field, and when he's on the field, let me just look quickly. So 61.8%, hold that number. When he's on the field, it's 58.2%. So technically, the success rate is a little bit better when he's off the field. Uh-oh.
There you go. Got him.
But yeah, the EPA stats are crazy. Like it's 0.19 to negative 0.05.
Circling back to something else, to the Zadarius Smith trade turned into Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins and a 6th rounder next year.
Hey, Ty's out playing 5th-round picks. I think he's not playing up to my personal level.
Was that by extension of other trades?
That was that was that deep into that.
No, they just straight up had. Yeah. It was not Cleveland's original. Now I closed the tab. So
because that was a 2020.
That was the Steelers Jesse Davis trade for 2028. Round comp.
I think they're still holding that pick.
2 years.
I still don't think they have that one. I think that's a 2026.
Draft our replacement kicker with that. Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins is
might really be worth it.
Outplaying 5th-round picks. He's not playing up to how much I liked him, but that's not his fault.
Yeah, no, he's a rotational rookie. He's going to be. There's definitely blemishes to that, but
yeah,
that's okay.
Squad Show is back on Thursday with this group. On Wednesday, the Care 11 crew and Ron Johnson broadcasts tomorrow on Locked On Sports Minnesota. That's our lineup this week for you everydayers. And thank you for watching, listening, commenting, and subscribing. It's the Vikings Squad Show. It's Eagles week. The bye is over. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Have a good day.